Hello, my name is David Svetkowski, and we're really excited today to be introducing Amanda Laurie-Jones, who is our disability and inclusion expert. I like to call her our guru, and Justin Fay, who's been a part of the Insight series and is a part of the Fusion team. During the time that we've been, been recruiting and developing graduates, one of the major challenges that we come up with is a lack of knowledge in this area. So we're quite honoured to have you in here today, Amanda, to open up and give the broader graduate industry some insight into your expertise, what you see, and some advice to us. So I'll throw it over to Justin.
Yeah, I think that there's two key parts of the process: A, attracting graduates, and then when they come into the process, that operational piece. So starting with the attraction of candidates that might identify as having a disability, what would be your advice to employers to do that in the best way?
Sure. So from my perspective, people with disability need to feel comfortable about what an employer is going to offer. From that perspective, things like knowing that they have a statement around accessibility, whether that be on their processes around their website, their application, or whether it's broader, like a disability action plan that's publicly on their website. They need to feel comfortable that they knowingly can go into that organisation and know that the culture will be safe so that they can share their disability information.
And practically, what's the best way of getting that information across to potential applicants?
Yeah, look, there's plenty of ways to get that information through. People with disability are big social media users, so I would recommend blasting information out onto social media. But yeah, from that perspective, people with disability are well connected in different communities. So I think from a grad perspective, the disability liaison officers at each university are really good contact points as well in disseminating information.
And thinking next about the recruitment stage, so you've managed to attract great applicants to apply to the programme. What are some of the common challenges that an applicant with a disability might face with a common process that's typically used in our industry?
Yeah, so application forms that are done online, sometimes they're not accessible for people with disability or for vision impairments. That can include mobility impairments as well. So if you don't have full hand functionality to operate a keyboard, those sorts of things. So it needs to be compliant with the World Content Accessibility Guidelines. So just making sure that you've tested all of your online tools and resources so that they are accessible. The other points around to questions, so making sure that they're not too complicated, simplify them, make them so that, for example, a person with autism is very literal in their thinking, so making sure that when you ask a question that they will know how to answer it, so it's not too complicated and complex.
And what type of support, finally, do you think an applicant that identifies as having a disability might need above and beyond in the recruitment process?
Yeah, sure. So historically, graduates with disability take longer to get employment. So from that perspective, it's helping them to actually understand the recruitment process and getting to that interview stage. So if you can offer some type of individualised support to each applicant with disability, that is really, really helpful, just so that they can understand and get through the process. Different disabilities can come across that, there might be barriers in the way. So for example, the questioning again around through the applicant, group exercises, so people might have hearing impairments and not be able to participate fully because adjustments haven't been made. So it's understanding those adjustments and making sure that you can help them through the process.
And in terms of the what next, as David said, it's a real key area of interest for employers. Can you recommend any resources that would be a good first step for people wanting to educate themselves more in this space?
Yeah, there's lots of training around disability awareness. So you can go to the Victorian Public Sector Commission website. There is actually a toolkit that we've developed. So there's so many resources around specific roles as well. So whether you are an employee, whether you're a job seeker, whether you're a manager or whether you're a senior leader, there's some tools and resources on the sorts of things that you should know and how to actually implement that in your organisation.
Fantastic.
You travel the world as a global thought leader on diversity and inclusion and disability, and I guess you're in a great position to make an assessment on how we, as I guess the Australian potentially graduate industry, sits. How are we positioned? Are we paying enough attention, and what can we do better?
Thanks, David. Statistically, they say no. I don't think from a graduate perspective. They do say that the average graduate takes 3 times longer to get employment of a person with disability. So there are barriers in the way of getting through that application and recruitment process.
So the process.
It's the process.
Yeah.
It is actually the process, and
Yeah.
giving people the opportunity to get to that interview stage allows them to actually showcase their better skills. So sometimes, throughout the process, they'll get knocked out quicker because of bias.
Yes. And what if you were to suggest some 3 logical tips for the employers out there, graduate employers, what would you be suggesting we need to shift in terms of our mindset?
Yeah, so think about your own unconscious bias. Think about developing some further training and awareness for your organisation, and really having a look at the entire end-to-end recruitment process and removing the barriers along the way. So start with removing the barriers, therefore people need less adjustments through the process.
I think some fantastic advice, and having been in industry for a long time, and having attended your awareness training, I put my hand up. It was the first time I'd actually attended such a well-run training session that really opened my eyes to some of the things that we need to be thinking about, making adjustments in our processes. Quite often the graduate managers and organisations out there just go, we have a quota, we have some numbers, targets we have to hit. Let's forget the targets. Let's get the process right and strip it right back to making sure that we're doing the right thing first, and then the numbers might come.
I absolutely agree.
So thank you, New, and to the audience out there, please feel free to reach out. We're going to put Amanda's details on the back end of this clip. But please, if you need any training or any advice, we thank you so much, because I think we're going to tie you down to the office and not let you go out of here with the amount of great advice you've been giving us. So thank you, and thank you, Justin.
Thank you.